Is All Books. Here with me today is author Kelly Kay. Kelly, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
I'm so excited to have you here. Author Kelly Kay has published 15 books, and she has novellas that are out there published. One of the series that she has out that we'll be talking about a lot today is one of my favorites, the Boston Brothers series. I feel like I'm switching that around. No.
No, it's
And
Boston.
we will be
Yeah,
able to
Boston Brothers.
Boston Brothers. I was just talking about how I get tongue-tied.
A
Um,
second chance series. Yeah.
also, Kelly, I loved when you submitted your form. You said you'll usually have either a glass of wine or a cup of coffee in your hand at all times. There we go. We have some coffee. I have to ask you, what is your go-to coffee order? What is your go-to wine when you're drinking?
Wine. My go-to wine these days is Sauvignon Blanc, summer or rosé.
Yes.
Dry white right now.
Yes.
And coffee, pretty basic. Like
Okay.
just coffee with cream. I mean,
Love it.
I'll do a non-fat latte. Don't get me wrong, but
Yes.
I'm pretty basic.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that with me. I'm one of those people who I always have, I'm juggling beverages all the time.
Yeah.
And I think it's like a symptom of my ADHD or something. I don't know. But I always have like a caffeinated and all sorts of things.
And then I alternate between them. Like I'm going to get bored with the water, so I have to go back to the coffee. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, but there's lemon perfect in the house, or seltzer, or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so true. And for those viewers who are watching, if you're not familiar with Kelly Kay, she writes some of the best witty dialogue between characters. So if you're somebody like me who like is dying to find great dialogue, great banter that like makes a book for you, definitely stay tuned, listen to this episode, get to know Kelly Kay and connect with her and her books, because that is so, for me, that's like, I don't know if banter's a trope, but like that is one of my favorite things in a book. So I'm excited to have you on. I can't wait to dive in. Kelly, I like to set a nostalgic vibe with these interviews, and 90s-ish nostalgia. I have my paper fortune teller. I have to ask, I know you mentioned before we started recording you're from Pennsylvania. What did you guys...
Sure.
Cootie catcher. Okay, so many people are like, it's a cootie catcher. And I've decided it's regional, but the regions are getting very small that call it paper fortune teller, and everyone's calling it a cootie catcher. The only people who have
fortune teller too. Cootie catcher was more like if it was like negative stuff, but like if it were like boys you liked or something like that, it was fortune teller.
Okay, I get that. Awesome. I'm always just so curious. So for those viewers, listeners who are not super familiar with this, I give a little intro to it every episode. If you know, you can just skip forward. But the outside has colors on it, or at least the way this one's made. The outside has colors. We have pink, green, orange, and yellow. The inside is numbered. It's so hard to see it on here, but 1 through 8. Each number corresponds with a question that I have for Kelly. And that's not how it's typically played. Typically, you're asking it a question, and under each number has like a yes, no, maybe, or however you played growing up. But we are using this to guide our Q&A. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so you will hear me spell these colors very frequently. One day I was doing one of these interviews and I stopped spelling yellow at the O, and I don't know where that came from, but that was very embarrassing, and I do know how to spell these colors. So I'll remind you each time what the colors are. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. All right. So your colors are pink, green, orange, or yellow.
I'm in a major yellow phase right now, so I'm going to go yellow.
All right.
Just that my new book is all about lemons. So
Yes, perfect. All right. YELLOW. Your number options are 1, 2, 5, or 6.
5.
Oops, I need to grab my marker. If I don't write these down, I start to like lose it. Question number 5. Okay. What is your favorite part of the writing process?
Is the moment in which the characters, like you said, I really like to write dialogue, so I hear them talking in my head. But when I'm writing, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got an idea. Let's sit down and do this. And so I'll be writing it, and then it'll get done, and they've all of a sudden started talking for themselves. Like, I'm not editing, I'm not thinking about it. I'm not like, ooh, you know what would be good if they said this? They just say it. So it kind of like clicks in. So
I
that's my
love that.
favorite part, when I get done and I'm like, ooh, what did I write?
Awesome.
Go back and listen to them. Yeah.
So cool. I feel like that is probably challenging for some authors, like for the, I don't know, I'm not an author, for the dialogue to feel flowy and to feel not so, I don't know, like chunky, like it's not really like flowing like a real conversation would, but the fact that you're able to like actually hear it and then write it probably really like contributes to how.
It's not always great.
Right.
Like, I have really fabulous beta readers and wonderful friends who I'm like, it will just be like, oh, that is just a lot of talking for no reason. And I'm like, all right, fine.
That is so funny. Yeah, that feedback is always probably really helpful as an author, to get that from beta readers for that.
Yes.
I'm alpha reading my first book. Like, I'm alpha reading for an author from a more like critique-y, and I'm like, that actually is probably what's most helpful. The hype is great, but then also
we need one editor who like had to ask her, like, did you like them? She's like, oh, it's my favorite book. I'm like, I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah. Oh geez, yeah. That would it needs to be a balance for sure. And constructive, I imagine.
Yeah.
All right. Yellow, orange, green, or pink. I just really wish it would show up.
Pink.
Pink. All right. PINK. Your question options are 3, 4, 7, or 8.
8.
8. All right. Question number 8. Let's talk a little bit about the Boston Brothers series. For those viewers and listeners who might not be familiar with this series, can you kind of give them like your little synopsis, like elevator pitch about what the series is like?
Sure. It's called the Boston Brothers: A Second Chance series. So every single book in the series is a second chance.
Yes.
And it's about 6 guys who are actual brothers or brothers from another mother, and interconnected stories that can all be read standalone, but they are interconnected. But it's all about how they found the love of their life, screwed it up, and then like a decade later have to work to get it back. And so,
which I think is like many reasons why I love this series. I'm really into second chance romance right now. I also love, back when I first started getting into reading, I was like, I want to read a series that follows the same couple for like 1,000 books because I'm not ready to say goodbye to them. But now I'm so into standalone series that interconnect in the same world where like you get cameos from other characters from other books, but like they all have their own storyline. Like I love it.
Melanie Harlow does it really, really well. And and so that's kind of where, when I started thinking about a new series, like I've got a very long series, winery series that is wrapping up this fall. Oh God.
Okay.
It's who grew up at 5 different wineries, and so they all get their own books. But
I love it
because it was kind of new to the whole. And it's kind of like I envisioned the whole thing before I wrote it. It was my first book that came out called Crushing, but that's a trilogy. So there's like a trilogy within the series and a duet within the series. So it gets weird. Then it goes into like romantic suspense, and now the last book's like full on caper. But it's all funny. Like I wrote a funny mafia book.
Oh, I love it. I'm going to check it out. That's going to be like my next read because I love romantic suspense and it's hard to find. And I know that it's not an entire series of romantic suspense.
Because there's some dark moments and there's some blood and there's what you need. But it's kind of picked through and it escalates through the series. But when I was looking for something to write, not that, because that's so inclusive, like so all encompassing, that I just wrote Keep Paris, which is the first book of Boston Brothers. And with I don't even know what to call them sometimes because their names switch in the book.
Yes.
Hayden and Lizzie. when I started writing them, one of my beta readers, a good friend of mine, an author, I don't know if you know her, but Julia Jarrett.
Yes,
Yes. It's for me, and I read for her, and we say, no, that doesn't work, or that does. But after she read it, she said, when do I get Tony's book, which is the second book, which turned into the second book, Keep Vegas. But I was like, oh, no, this was going to be a standalone. And she's like, oh, no, it's so not.
Yeah, no.
She's like,
and each book starts with keep. Is always keep something, right? Yeah. Like that's how it's me, right?
Yeah. Novella in between Keep Paris and Keep Vegas called Keep Philly. That's free on my website. Anybody want?
Yeah.
And then I have another novella called Keep Rugged, which I had to invent a town in Maine called Rugged because it's in the Rough and Rugged anthology for to benefit autism through Meet Me in Milwaukee, a signing I'm doing in a couple weeks. So,
oh wow,
right. So she had all these people write these rough and rugged, whatever, and it's a really signing. So it's not all dark or all rom-com or all it's paranormal. It's like all together. So we all wrote this thing, and the people who write more rough sex, we're all excited. And I'm like,
yes,
well, I don't necessarily write that kind of sex. So I was like, all right, so I have to use rugged. None of my guys are rugged, like in the true sense of like lumberjack, not like, Daphne Elliott guys or anything. So we, one of the brothers, Dax, Tony's brother, in Rugged, Maine. And so I will get the novella back from the anthology days before the next book comes out at the end of August, which is Keep Tuscan-y. Keep Tuscan-y.
Perfect.
So I'm just going to release both of those at the same time, basically.
I love that. So tell me a little bit more about the anthology. So this is going to benefit, what was the organization? Awesome. My daughter is autistic, so it definitely flagged to me. So
the woman who created Ashley, her last Lewis, I think. She created the signing. She's all things geeky girl, and it's very close to her son.
Okay.
And so it did really, really well, apparently. I'm thrilled for her, but we all just donated novellas, and then she sold it. And then she sold a certain amount of printed copies at a really great price for her. And then she'll have them on site. So we'll all sign the anthology
that is
on site.
Awesome.
Yeah. Very cool. Then we get the rights back like days after.
Right.
And so the anthology will come down. But it's called Rough and Rugged, and it's in KU, which I thought was really smart.
I'm writing it down so I remember this.
And LB Dunbar's in there, and Dee Williams, and myself, and I forget who else is in it. But I read a bunch of them. They're really good.
That is awesome. Very cool. I love that. Thanks for sharing.
And so I stuck Dax in there, and mine, forced proximity, one bed, but his second chance, I loved.
That is awesome. That is so exciting. I can't wait to read it. Yeah. Very nice. All right, here we go. Pink, yellow, orange, and green.
Green.
All right. GREEN. 1, 2, 5, or 6, but you already 2. All right. Question number 2. All right, we're bouncing out of the books. What are 3 things that readers might not know about you?
Ooh.
This is the hardest question.
I've worked at some really weird but very well-known places at Epcot Center at Disney World. I worked at Sundance Film Festival for a while, and I met my husband at the Second City Comedy Theater in Chicago.
Very cool.
That's one thing, is that I worked at these huge places.
Yes.
Very diverse from this. I don't know. I've lived my husband and I moved every year for like 13 years or something. Like, we're not like just on a random whim, like not military. We're not. My husband also says like we were on the run.
Yeah.
Like we just
That is so
decided like,
funny.
oh, let's go live in California. Let's go live. We've lived in all time zones in the US.
Wow.
From Florida to Northern California to Utah from Sundance. Like sometimes we move for jobs. Sometimes it was like, oh, I'm kind of bored now.
Let's try somewhere else out. Yeah. Moving's a lot of work. That is a lot of work.
Yeah, we were like a lean, like we had it lean. We had nothing.
Yeah, okay, got it. So it was easier.
Busted ass couch in the U-Haul. Let's go.
Yeah.
A little different now with the kid, but you know.
Exactly. There's a lot more things. Yeah. That's so neat. Very cool.
Was that awesome. It? Or do I have to come up with another one? I have to come up with another. I played Carnegie Hall once.
Wow.
Yeah, I broke in with my best friend and we played Heart and Soul on the piano.
Such a cool story. You just like broke in with your friends and didn't get caught and taking it?
No, and we used to, I grew up about 40 minutes outside of Manhattan. And so we would lie to our parents when we were in high school. Now, Mom, I don't want you to watch this. And we'd take a bus into New York for the day and then call our parents and say we were staying late for play practice. Like,
oh my gosh.
And then we'd take the bus back. So
that is hysterical.
Around. No money, like just, you know, totally safe.
Totally safe. Nothing that would worry your mom. Right. It's like the things you think back that you did as a child, like that tops it. But like
ridiculous.
As a parent now, you're like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. More than my mom. I don't want my kid to see this.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get any ideas. I've lived as a child before. Yeah. But that is such a cool story. I can't say anything like that.
Yes. Oh, thanks. Just jackassery.
I love it. That is awesome. Very cool. Thanks for sharing those things.
Sure.
I think I read too, is your husband's a writer as well, right?
Yes, he's a journalist.
Very cool. Very nice.
Yeah, he actually just finished his first novel, which is with his agent right now as he reviews it to try to pitch.
Oh, cool.
But he's written a ton of nonfiction stuff, but never a fiction. Never fiction.
Very neat. That's awesome. So you guys are very talented in writing. Very creative. That's awesome. All right, green, pink, yellow, or orange?
Let's go orange.
Orange. All right. ORANGE. And we have 3, 4, 7, or 8, but you already answered 8.
All right, 7.
7. All right. Question number 7. Back up, this one's a hard one. So if you can't answer it, totally fine.
All right,
Pick any of your
I'll do
books.
what I can.
Have you ever thought of like dream casting for any of your books?
Yeah, weirdly, Tony. This is just not sexy at all. But there was this actor named Peter O'Toole. Or no,
okay.
Yeah, Peter O'Toole, and he had like the craziest kind of lanky, drunken, ridiculous, rabble-rouser kind of personality that I saw in these black and white pictures one day. And I was like, oh, that's Tony. Like, that's totally him, which is the weirdest thing. So then Mackenzie, who's in Keep Vegas, became, in my head, a version of Audrey Hepburn. Like, more physically, but like, just she's a little more outspoken, but it was just this whole kind of weird dream casting of like dead people. like
that is awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
let's look him up because he's not ringing a bell like name wise.
Yeah. Oh no, he's like ancient. And I was on Pinterest and I was looking at I don't even know what the hell I was looking at, but he like popped up and I was like, what is that? That was a cool black and white picture. And it was just him in like a hat with a cigarette or something. And I thought it was like a modern picture. And I was like, oh. And then when I looked up, I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen him in movies, like old movies with my mom or, you know, whatever.
Right.
But I was like, holy shit, he's so cool.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a modern picture, which was the weirdest thing.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Wow. Very cool. I'm going to look him up. So you have considered the dream casting.
So like, I don't know if you can see this.
I have seen him. Okay, I've seen him. I just did not know the name.
Right. And I didn't recognize him when I saw the picture. And then I was like, it wasn't that picture, but it was one like that. And I'm like, oh, that would be cool. Who's that guy? No.
Yes. That is awesome. I love Pinterest. I'm on it all the time. Like I love it. I feel like
my cover designer that I use a lot, she always wants a Pinterest board. And so we share it. And so sometimes I get a little carried away. Like I had a book called Present Tense, in which in my mind, he was John Krasinski. Oh, casting. Yeah. He was just, and I must have pinned about 1,000. She's like, I get it. One is sufficient. I get it. You want Krasinski. Got it.
I'm such a visual person that, and I'm not an author, but if I were, I feel like I would have to have like a Pinterest board. Like I would really need that because I would, in order to thrive, I feel like I would need to have like those images in front of me.
Yeah. Not only the images, but like I'm very a visual person as well. And I kind of half pants. Like I'll pants to a point and then I got to sit down and plot it and make sure that I'm hitting everything. But I used to, up until, and my husband bought me like a whiteboard, which is great. But I had, you know, those window markers? Like we used them in the car when my kid was little so that he could like entertain himself in the car.
Yes.
But I would, all over our house, there would just be like, almost like a flow chart of like boxes.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Of like, okay, well that goes there. All right, well if I do this and move this over here and so I mean even this morning when I was trying to plot baby math, I can't do, like I had to do it in post.
Yes, that is so cool. Authors, like what their writing process looks like and how they're able to like do it all. It's as a non-writer. Very cool. All right. Pink, green, yellow, or orange?
Pink.
Pink. All right. PINK. 3, 4, 7, or 8. But we only have 3 or 4 left of this. 3. All right. Question number 3. Can you tell us a little bit more about your upcoming release with the new book of our Boston Brothers? I still want to say Band of Brothers.
It is Band of Brothers. Band of Boston Brothers. It's called Keep Tuscan-y, and I keep saying to people that, you know, when life gives you lemons, make limoncello. And it's about 2 people who had been handed just a raw deal when they were younger and had to break up. I'm not going to go into specifics on that, but they also, each one of the books so far begins in Paris. And so this one begins in that same high school trip as well. And this is Maggie and Colt. And what takes them out of their world is that they become the people in life who are always getting lemons and always making lemonade for everybody and so at one point Maggie gets very upset and moves to Italy.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that a lot of viewers are going to really, really find that to be captivating. The whole premise of like how each book starts and the school trip.
And I hadn't thought about this when I wrote them, but someone said this to me recently, that usually when it's someone's second chance book, you don't see the first chance.
Right.
And I was like, of course. Yes. I've read second chance.
It's a really cool, unique situation.
I write the first chance.
Yeah.
But for me, it was selfish because I love a good meet cute. And so I get to do 2 of them.
Yes. Yeah. That is true. Meet cutes are the best. I heard somebody use the term meet cute out in the wild, and I tuned in. They were not talking about books. And I quickly started tuning in and listening to what they were talking about. Yeah.
Go on.
Okay, never mind. Go on with your day. Bye.
Bye. You're not talking about a book.
Oh, sorry. That's all I talk about. Right. Yellow, orange, pink, or green?
Yellow for lemons.
Alrighty, we love our yellow. YELLOW. I keep landing on it probably because we keep choosing yellow, but you only have one left in this, and that's question number 4. Would you like to answer question number 4?
Please hit me with question number 4.
There we go. Okay, what is the most surprising thing that you discovered while writing? Like, is there anything that surprised you when you were writing this, either this book or any of your books?
I'm so weird. So I discovered that. No, actually I knew that part. I laugh at my own jokes. I cry when I write.
Oh,
and I get a little
experiencing the full emotion, the roller coaster of emotions.
And I get anxious. Like there's this song. Oh my God. So I have this book called Side Piece, and she's a romance author and he's based on a real political podcaster.
Ooh.
Who I had a little bit of a crush on. My husband's like, seriously, you fanficked? Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, kind of. But they do have a third act breakup, and there was this song that was this like John Mayer song called "In Your Atmosphere" or something. It was like on a live album, whatever. My husband, it came on, and I wrote this book like it came out in 2020. So it's been a while.
Yes.
The song came on in the car, and my husband's sitting next to me, and I just start crying. And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, I want Tess and Alex to work it out." And he's like, "Didn't you write that?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Don't they get together?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was like sobbing.
That is so funny. I feel like that's how it would be. I would be like living the emotions out as it plays out in my head.
I feel like a lot with Keep Tuscan-y. There's a lot more. They're the sweetest couple. The sweetest couple that I've written. They're just Maggie and Colt are just nice people and excited. Aww. And there's no darkness. There's no like sassy. I mean, they're sassy, but they're not like sarcastic. They're not like hard. Right. They don't have any hard edges.
Yeah,
but so they have a hard life. But so it was a lot of angst and a lot of like, oh God, they don't get to be together again. Like,
yeah, I love that. I love the angst. I love I'm the toxic person who's like, I love miscommunication. I love third act breakups.
I do too. I mean, the Tuscan-y has a 10-minute, 20-minute third act breakup. Like they literally talk about the fact that they broke up for 20 minutes. So
yeah.
But there's something about the arc, the writing of that arc of building to that crescendo and then finding that big moment to come back. And so I'm not my next book because that's a winery book and it's all caper and this couple has been through the ringer, so they don't need a breakup. But I think like my next one's gonna have a third act breakup. Like I think, and it might be because the next one is Keep Boston, which is the last of the Boston brothers, which would be in the spring will be Law, the youngest, the baseball player.
Very nice.
I'll give him a third act breakup.
Right. We'll see. We'll see what happens in your mind. I'm excited. I'm going to stay tuned.
I literally just wrote that down.
Yeah. Real quick. Yeah. Love the sticky notes. Love it. Do you keep like a sticky note pad beside your bed? So like if you wake up in the middle of the night with a thought or no?
Most of the time, although the hand is clear right now, I write on my hand.
Love it. A lot. I love that. Gotta put it somewhere or else you'll lose it.
And I actually, like every once in a while, I'll just take a picture of it and put it on my Instagram stories. And then tell people to guess what it is. And if they guess correctly, I send them a book. I've only sent one book. But the last one I couldn't believe that they didn't get. It was a big K. And they kept saying, like, it's Kelly. I'm like, no. And it could have been Keep Tuscan-y. I was going to give them that. But they didn't say that. But it was for my assistant, Kate. Because I had to remember to send her something about Keep Tuscan-y. But I would have taken Keep Tuscan-y as a correct answer.
That is so funny. I love that. I'm going to have to look out for your stories and try to start guessing. All right. Pink, yellow, orange, or green?
Green.
For a second, I thought it was blue. Green. We already did those, so we're going to cheat. 1, 2, 5, or 6, and you only have
6.
1 and 6 left.
6.
What one?
6.
6. Alrighty. So we've talked a lot about tropes in the Boston Brothers series and the new book that's coming out. And this is I'm putting on the spot. Do you know of any micro-tropes that are in it? Are there any of those micro-tropes?
Forehead kisses and nicknames, and he's a single dad, so I had he's a girl dad.
Love a single dad.
So much fun. He also becomes a chef at one point, so he cooks for her. He also this I don't even know if this is a micro-trope, but she has and I'm not going to tell you the specifics because it's funny. She has a pest problem, and he builds things like shirtless to help her out with that.
Yeah.
He builds her things, which I loved. He also has this whole imagery of a garden, so he takes her on walks to gardens because he always wants to see them bloom.
Aww, very nice.
He's super sweet.
Those are great micro-tropes. There are people who go feral for some of those micro-tropes.
I know, I love them.
Yeah,
they're so fun.
Those are perfect.
And she's I can't think of
awesome. So you were on it. You had those micro-tropes ready.
Yeah, it's always been you. They pine a lot.
Oh, love it. Mm-hmm. That is so sweet. The forehead kisses is a micro-trope I always kind of forget about, but a lot of people I see post about them. Like they're looking for like that micro-trope.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
I like that. And also he, even though they're the sweetest couple, he might be the dirtiest talker I've ever written.
Oh, so dirty talker micro-trope. There you go. Yeah. And with your banter, we're up for a wild ride.
We'll see. He's it just started coming out one day and I'm like, oh my gosh.
What do you call that? I can't keep it straight when it's like a sweetheart, like a golden retriever, but like dirty talker. Is that like brunch daddy, or there's like a term for it?
It's like brunch daddy or something like that.
Okay. I can't keep it straight. I literally have to like Urban Dictionary it whenever I see somebody post. I'm like, well, I'm sure I'll like it, but I want to know what it is.
I like brunch, and I like
brunch is my favorite meal, so I know I like him. Yeah. All right.
Will
this
there
is
be
the last
mimosas?
question, but for fun, will you entertain me with one more paper fortune teller? Go.
Go.
All right. Pink, yellow, orange, or green?
Pink.
Pink. All right.
And question 1.
Yeah. I-N-K. And you have 1, 2, 5, or 6, but what number would you like?
I think number 1.
There we go. Question number 1. And I did rearrange these just a little bit because we talked a lot about tropes and stuff before. So what do you hope readers feel when they read your new release coming out?
I think, and this is in my bio too, but I think there's nothing better than gut-wrenching sobbing and then laughing your ass off. Like just going through the gamut of it all. Like just like some of my favorite movies, or like someone called me Smutty Nora Ephron, and it was like the greatest compliment I've ever gotten in my life. I'm just like, yes.
Because I saw that in your bio. Yeah.
I want you to feel all of that and then laugh at it.
Yes, exactly.
So
I think that's so accurate. That's such a good description. I love it. You should make that like in your Instagram bio too, if it's not already.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so we're at the second half of this interview, and to stick with the nostalgia vibe, I'm going to give you some throwback games for you to choose one from. So your options are MASH, Truth or Dare, Never Have I Ever, or Two Truths and a Lie, and we'll keep them all bookish.
Let's do Never Have I Ever.
Okay, Never Have I Ever. So because this can go back and forth for a while, has happened for me, we'll do 3 fingers instead of 5 fingers just to help us out since we are getting to know each other.
Okay.
So 3 fingers. And so for those watching or listening, since I'm now on Spotify, what this is, Never Have I Ever is a game. You hold up your fingers. Typically, it would be 5. You go back and forth, and I would say something I've never done. And if Kelly has done this thing, then Kelly would have to put a finger down. And then it would be Kelly's turn to say something she's never done. And if I've done it, then I'd put a finger down, so on and so forth, until somebody's the only person with a finger up. And that person wins. So we'll go back and forth. I'll try to narrate who put a finger down or not. So if you're listening, you can kind of hear what's happening. We'll try to keep it bookish. It does get a little challenging since we know each other on just like a 30-minute situation, but it'll be fun. So take as long as you need between each one, and you get to pick because you're my guest. Would you like to go first and say what you've never done, or do you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay, I'll go first. All right. Never have I ever DNF'd a book this year.
I DNF'd a book this morning.
So Kelly's fingers down. I have 3. She has 2. It's your turn.
Never have I ever read a monster romance.
That's my go-to. That's the one I always use, and I have never read it. That was going to be my next one. I usually use it first, but I felt bad, and I thought I'd switch it up. I've never read Monster Smut. I always like to preface this with, if you are a fan, I have nothing against it. Give me a good rec. I'll read it. Just let me know what to read. I don't even know where to start.
Right, I don't know.
I've never read it. So if you're watching, listening, please comment with a good Monster Smut rec, because Kelly and I need it.
We do. We'll try it. We might DNF, but we'll try it.
Might be the first one I DNF this year, but sure. All right. Well, now I have to think of a different one real quick. All right. Never have I ever. Never have I ever read a second chance romance that I didn't like.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so both of us did not put a finger down. So I have 3. Kelly has 2. It's your turn.
Never have I ever read a book, and someone did this the other day that I know, and forgot they already read it.
Oh, I have done that. So I have 2 fingers now. I had to put one down for that. I have read books, and where I get into it, I'm like, oh, this is very familiar. And like, oh, I've read this, and I always have liked the book. I just forgot the title. So yeah, that happens to me. That's a good one. Okay. Never have I. This might be me playing dirty. Maybe not. Never have I ever written a character based on myself. You have. All right, Kelly, put a finger down. Are you able to tell us which character or no?
She's the most like me. She's got like a ton of, other stuff in it, but her name is Meg, and she's in Shock Mountain Crossfade.
Oh, cool.
Love Triangle, no crossover. Rockstar Romance. They're both rockstar.
Gosh, it sounds amazing.
It's a duet, super long, but Meg she's
sounds delicious
and ridiculous and rambles on.
Love it.
And when I was talking about the novellas that I have, there are 4 that are spin-offs from that series. So she's got all these friends.
Oh, and
then the loser of the love triangle got a novella so that he could have an HEA.
I love when the runner-up gets his moment after that, because I always feel a little bad for him, and so that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, your turn.
Oh, I should have thought of this. Okay. Never have I ever written a fan DM.
Oh, like I have.
Written to an author.
Yep. Okay. I'm down. Yep. I'm down to one finger now, and you are both tied at one finger remaining.
I mean, I've written to authors, but I didn't like fangirl. Like there are certain authors that,
Yes.
I would absolutely fangirl, but I haven't yet.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite things about the book community, and something that's so neat about like today connecting with authors and like indie authors is that like when I was younger, there was no way you would have ever been able to like contact an author you loved, and now we do have that. And before I ever got into the Bookstagram and created She's All Books, I remember messaging.
For anyone listening, we're both literally looking at each other with one finger up.
I know. One finger up. I messaged an author, and then she responded, and I was like, I kind of like this, like getting able to like connect with authors and stuff. And that's where I
love it. I love when people reach out. I find it hilarious. There was this one girl who reached out to me as she's reading. And now there's like a bunch of people, but she was kind of one of the first. But now loyal reader, wonderful Bookstagram.
I've only done that one time, and I was so beyond surprised at a twist in a book that I dropped my Kindle as I was reading. I was like in such shock. So I DM'd to this author who I'd never talked to before, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure you just altered my brain chemistry. And she was like, let me guess, you're on this page. And I was like, yes. And so then she's like, keep me posted as you read the rest of it. And I was like, this is so fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. Yeah, I like to say, though, if you're watching this, let's keep Bookstagram positive. We don't reach out with anything negative. Only positive. Yes.
Yes.
All right. That was a good one. Okay. I can use that in the reverse. Next time I play this with an author, I can say, like, never have I ever received
Nice.
Okay, I'll take note. All right. Never have I ever felt rushed to finish a book. Oh, I won. I feel like I was still playing dirty with that, but I was curious if you've ever felt that way.
I have felt rushed.
Okay. Do you feel rushed from the fans? Do you feel rushed from your editor, or do you just feel rushed from yourself?
Editor, like right now, I'm overthinking.
Yeah.
And like it should be at my proofreader. Like Keep Tuscan-y should be out of my hand by now.
Yeah.
And this morning I was like, all right, I just need to recheck the baby math because the epilogue of Keep Vegas.
Yes.
I put a bunch of kids into it.
Yeah.
And it was 5 years in the future. So now I have to like back up when they were pregnant, whether or not they were pregnant during Keep Tuscan-y, where the kids were, and all this stuff. And so
that's hard.
Yeah. Oh, it's ridiculous. It's so stupid. And
that's where my brain just starts to short circuit. Like I wouldn't be able to do that.
Right. Yeah. And then trying to plan Lawrence's book, and trying not to trip him up with the babies.
Yes, that would be so hard. Oh my gosh. Wow. Because there would be the reader who would fact check this and be like,
And I will tell you this. Yeah. I am not the only author who hates baby math.
Yeah.
I would say that if somebody put like on their PA services, like, I'll do your baby math timeline.
I'll do your baby math.
We would throw money at them.
All right, PAs watching. I do have PAs who are who watch this and sign their authors up for this show and stuff. So if you're watching, add that to your list of services.
I do baby math.
Yeah. That is awesome. Well, thank you for entertaining me with that. Before we talk about where readers can connect with you, is there anything else about your upcoming release that you want to share with the viewers? Anything we should know, look out for?
It's August 26th. It's pre-order price right now. It's a little cheaper if anybody wants to. It's all Amazon. It will be in KU.
Okay.
And then Keep Rugged, the novella that will come right before it. We'll release, I think, Friday, and then I'll release the book Monday.
Okay. So, awesome.
Yeah.
Very
and then
exciting.
There'll be a winery book in November.
Nice. Lots of exciting things coming. Thank you so much again for sharing all that and entertaining me. It's almost like therapeutic for me to do this, so I appreciate it. Where can readers connect with you?
They can go to my website, kellykromance.com. Instagram, I'm there often at Kelly K Books.
Yes.
Same on Facebook, I think, Kelly K Books, and TikTok. Although I'm in and out on TikTok.
Me too.
I'm not a good girl there.
I'm an imposter on TikTok. Awesome. I will drop all the links for how to connect with Kelly K in the captions of this video on BookTube and on Spotify, so you can quickly click and connect and hurry up and get those books. Make sure that if you're watching this, leave some comments. Let us know what you think, how excited you are for these releases. If you've ever read one of Kelly's books before, let us know which ones. Thank you again for joining me. I had so much fun. I hope you'll come back and we can talk about your November release, because this was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Fun. This was awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate it, and we will talk soon. Thank you for watching this episode of She's All Books. Until next time.
I have this strangest feeling, don't know what to believe in. 'Cause every time you touch me, I can't control